Well, hello racing fans, and welcome to our Hollywoodbets Durbanville Gallop TV preview for Saturday the 14th of September, and we're halfway through the month, and it is a bumper weekend when it comes to Saturday. It's a doubleheader. Durbanville, Hollywoodbets Durbanville racing alongside Turfentine. I trust that you, the valued racing fan, is well looking forward to the weekend, and hopefully it can turn out to be a nice, profitable one for you. As always, Graham Hawkins on the line for our shows from the Western Cape, and just had been chatting to him off air. He's in good spirits and he's well. But firstly, Graham, as always, we like to know how things are in the Western Cape when it comes to the weather. Is things looking good there?
Clear but cold. That's short and sweet. Sun is shining, the skies are blue, but it's not warm. It's not warm.
Okay, Graham Hawkins under their duvet while he does this preview for Saturday the 14th. I'm just looking at the menu on what's on offer. 9 races on the card. The first race will begin at 12:05. It does not form part of the exotics, but let's get straight into it. Maybe Graham can get us off to a flyer in race number 1, which is a maiden plate for fillies and mares over 1,250 meters. As a guide, horses in single figures. Number 2 is at 2-1. Horse number 8 is at 8-1. Number 10 at 17-10. And then it is double figures, the balance. We're obviously going in blind with the first timers, so wait for the comments that will come through from the presenters on course before you try to include any of them. But Graham, I looked up the form line of number 2 here, Graham, and I must admit that when it comes to these 2 runners that are dominating the betting, the numbers 10 and 3, I'm slightly in the camp of Andre Nell's runner, number 3.
Yeah, it's difficult to know which one to go for. I'm very encouraged by Justin Snaith's comments regarding Beware the Bomb. He's not often bullish in his comments, but he reports that she's doing great and will be the filly to beat. That's about as enthusiastic as you're ever going to get Justin Snaith about a horse returning from a rest. So on that basis, I'm leaning slightly towards number 10, Beware the Bomb. But as you mentioned, the draw favours number 3, Englefield Green. The form of that first run when she ran 4th behind Scarlett McCall, who also runs at this meeting later on, has been solidly franked. And there are whispers out there that number 3, Englefield Green, is doing well at home, along with number 10, Beware the Bomb. So I think it is a match between these 2. The winner should come from one of these 2. Got healthy respect for number 3, Englefield Green, but I'm swayed by the comments of Justin Snaith, and he's been in terrific form, as has Andre Nell. So my marginal first choice would be number 10, Beware the Bomb, ahead of number 3, Englefield Green, but I wouldn't be surprised if they ran the other way around. The only other runner that I think is worth a mention is number 8, Back at the George, who's the only other runner quoted in single figures. So I think they've priced up this race pretty correctly. Back at the George has 4 runs under the belt. Those form lines have also been solidly franked. So I think you can expect number 8, Back at the George, to get into the mix. As far as the trifectas, the exactas and the quartets are concerned, as you mentioned, there are a number of very well-bred first-timers, but none appear to be strongly fancied. So the winner should come from 3, Englefield Green, or 10, Beware the Bomb, and number 8, Back at the George, to follow them home.
Okay, a form result for Graham Hawkins. It's red or black, and that is 3, English Green versus number 10, Beware the Bomb. And if you want to play the safe route, as we always suggest, it's the exacta box that can get you off to a nice profit there in race number 1. Race number 2 will begin with the exotics, 12:35, 1,250 meters. It's the start of the bipod. At the time of recording, no scratchings. The betting as we bring up the field. Again, a lot of first timers in the race, but none of them in the betting when it comes to horses in single figures. We got a 7-10 shot here, Graham, and that was going to be Justin Snaith again, horse number 8, and just one other runner in the betting, and that's number 9 at 9-2. So are we all in with number 8 in the bipod, or are you going to look to include number 9, which is the only other horse that represents some form?
Now, I think number 8, Let It Be Said, appeals as a bipod banker. He's only had the 3 starts after an indifferent debut over 1,000 meters. He stepped up very quickly, has run second in his last 2 starts. As I mentioned earlier, Justin Snaith and Grant Van Niekerk have been in terrific form. So number 8, Let It Be Said, ticks all the bipod boxes. So I think you can safely bank at number 8, Let It Be Said, in the opening leg of the bipod. Number 9, Cliff Swallow, has been very expensive to follow. He has got form behind his name, and he should be there and thereabouts, but he seems to have his limitations. He's a 4-year-old. That's in his advantage. He's a year older and more experienced than number 8, Let It Be Said, but Let It Be Said is progressive. One other horse I'd like to mention is number 1, Bombers in the Sky. Now, we saw in KwaZulu-Natal that the Glen Cotson stable brought out a runner after a long gap to win by 5 or 6 lengths from similar form lines. Now, Bombers in the Sky raced behind Little Ballerina and talked to the master back in January and February. Didn't acquit himself well at all. But the fact of the matter is that he's had time to mature since then. He was gelded after those 2 runs. And again, the comments are quite positive. Had a nice break, coming back stronger. May just need the outing, but I suspect from pole position, if you're looking for a roughie to throw into your exactas, trifectas and quartets, then don't ignore number 1, Bombers in the Sky. The field is loaded with well-bred first-timers. The fact that Richard Faree is aboard number 7, Garrix, for the Pitt Stain stable, a very well-bred 3-year-old son of Vercingetorix speaks volumes, but the betting will be the best guide. The stable suggests he could need the experience. So it all points to number 8, Let It Be Said. I'm not looking for spooks here. The card does get a little more complicated as we work through the races. So for me, number 8, Let It Be Said, a bipod banker.
Okay, that's it for Graham. He is with the 7 to 10 shot here in the bar pot in race number 2. And when you're looking for other runners, well, he's found a nice roughie there in number 1, Bombers in the Sky. So we move along to race number 3, which will be the start of the place accumulator. If you want to get on, you need to be on by 13:10. And as I mentioned, there's lots to play for on this Saturday. We are racing alongside the Big T Turfentine, so keep an eye on the times. 1,250 meters, the maiden plate. Bringing up the field, number 1 at 8 to 1, number 4 at 8 to 1, 5 is at 7 to 1, horse number 8 at 12 to 10, number 9 at 8 to 1, and then it's double figures, the balance. Now, when I had a look at this card, Graham, and I know that the form is now starting to level itself out with all the interruptions, etc. But just purely, if you're going red or black in race number 1 between numbers 3 and 10, the second race you seem quite strong with Justin Snaith's runner, horse number 8. This could be the treble to get things off, Graham, with Candice Bass Robinson's here, a runner here, master of the desert, horse number 8, because I watched the race last time out, and I think if the horse can just build on that, will be the horse to beat.
Yeah, the form book suggests that number 8, Master of the Desert, is the one to beat. I think he's quite sharp in the market. I don't trust that across the bar form line. And in fact, I don't trust this race at all. I think he could be vulnerable. I don't think anything has to be too special to overturn him. While the form is reasonable and while he is clearly progressive and improving with each and every run, like I said, I really don't trust that last form line where across the bar 1. I think there are a number of potential improvers. So while you have to select number 8, Master of the Desert, to win because he has the best credentials, when you go through his form line, number 11, Diablo, made his debut on the 2nd of June behind Air Raid, the same race that Master of the Desert had his second start in. There was only a length or so between them. There's been an early market nibble for number 5, Grand Allegro. 2 runs under the belt, not bad efforts. Blinker's first time, can improve. Arctic Wizard has got to be better than that last run. Showed some potential and some speed on debut in 3rd behind Miss Argonaut. That form has been somewhat franked. Green Opera, those form lines are not too bad. Was a little disappointing last time out in the yielding going behind We Have Touchdown, but is nicely drawn. And Dean Canamare's stable is up and firing in the Western Cape. So That has got to come into the race with a chance. And then there are a number of well-bred first-timers, any of whom don't have to be that special to win this. So clearly number 8, Master of the Desert, is the top choice. But something in my gut tells me that he's not really an 11 to 10 chance. So it's difficult to know what to make of the bipot and the place accumulator as to whether you go solidly with number 8, Master of the Desert, or you run for a bit of cover. But I'd trust this race.
Okay, Graham's on the fence with the favorite number 8, so I'm just going to pose him one question. In leg 1 of the place accumulator, if the guys are looking for some cover with number 8, they're playing for the result, give me 2 other horses that you'll include.
I think I'd include numbers 4 and 5.
4 and 5, the cover numbers for 8, if you're playing to beat the top one in race number 3. Race number 4 will be the big one, the pick 6, maiden plate 1,600 meters. And this is the way they're betting. Number 1 at 7 to 2, 2 at 7 to 1. Then we go on to number 4, which is at 2 to 1. And one more runner in single figures, and that's going to be number 13, Terminator, Andre Nell and Anthony Andrews at 11 to 2. What are we making of the favorite here, Graham? Because last time out disappointed his followers, the son of Denon Platino. 18 to 10, could only manage third. Are we going to put that down to just an off run, or are we going to follow?
I think you need to follow number 4, Land of the Rising Sun. I don't think he's the finished product, and therein lies the rub. I think he's still a little inexperienced. He's still a little green. He showed that in his last start, and in fact in the run before that when he came flying up from way back in the field in a limited lineup when third under a length behind Noonday Gun. We expected him to progress from that, as you said, and was a solid favourite to win last time out, was soundly beaten by Sound of the Sea. So I do think that Land of the Rising Sun is on an upward curve. I think the fact that he's drawn in gate 4 is going to help his cause. But again, I can't make him an absolute blinder. If number 13, Terminator, was better drawn, he would in fact be my first choice ahead of Land of the Rising Sun, but Terminator's drawn worst of all in this 13-horse lineup, so that's not going to make it easy for him. He's been runner-up in his last 2 starts. We have a number of other potential improvers. Number 2, Arbitration. I do need to see more from him, but more interesting is number 3, Circumbendibus. He's had the 2 runs under his belt. Once again, it's the We Have Touchdown form line that comes under the spotlight here. They do think quite highly of number 3, Circumbendibus. He hasn't raced since June. I think the step up in trip from 1,200 meters to 1,600 meters is key for him. I think you're going to see a much better version of Circumbendibus in this race if he doesn't need it too badly. And then we have a couple of limited 4-year-olds, admittedly limited, but they are more experienced. Amancio is well drawn in gate 1. That's got to have a chance. Champanel has got to have a chance. And then one other 3-year-old worth of mentioning, also badly drawn, is number 12, Red Dawn. I can't believe that last run. I think he will improve on that. But Land of the Rising Sun does get the vote as the top choice ahead of number 13, Terminator. As I said, I would have swung those 2 around if Terminator was better drawn. But I do have a healthy respect for number 3, Circumbendibus, and of the older limited maidens, number 1, Amancio, because of the fact that he's drawn in pole position. So again, I'm certainly not going to rely totally on Land of the Rising Sun. I do think he is the one to beat. I do think he's heading in the right direction. But I do think that he'll continue to improve his racing experience. I don't think he's the finished product yet.
Okay, 4 and 13, the principals on form, but some nice horses there to include if you're playing for a result in the pick 6. Numbers 1 and 3 are the suggested numbers from Graham. So he's giving you 4 runners to play around with in whatever bets you've taken in race number 4. Race number 5. So we're done with the maidens now, Graham. We got some form to work around. 1,800 meters, race number 5. Jackpot 1 at 14.20. As we bring up the field, 8 runners will go to post. So it's a small field, but this is highly competitive. Number 1, Plum Pudding, is at 5 to 1. Number 3, Among the Clouds, at 22 to 10. Then we have number 4, Kamikaze, at 9 to 2. Number 6, Lickety Split, at 28 to 10. And a runner that I'd like Graham to lend his thoughts on is number 7, Glee Club. Greg Enyon is also having a fair run with Richard Fourie up. That's trading at 6 to 1. But Graham, how do you see race number 5, which is the start of Jackpot 1?
Yeah, it is a competitive Class 4 handicap for fillies and mares over 1,800 metres, so by their very nature, this is a tricky race. But I'm quite solidly in the camp of number 1, Plum Pudding. I think that last run was below par. I didn't think she appreciated the soft conditions on that day. That was back in June. Her form before that was super consistent. She's drawn in gate 1. I think 1,800 metres is right up her alley. I hope that she gets into a good early position. She has, on occasions, tended to get lost in the early part of the race, but her better performance has been when she's close to the pace. So I'm going to forgive her last run on the softer track. The track has firmed up significantly. The track is firm and fast, and I think that'll suit number 1, Plum Pudding. So she is my clear first choice. She opened at 4-1, drifted out 9-2, now 5-1. So she is easing in the market, but that doesn't put me off. I do have healthy respect for both of Justin Snaith's runners, number 3, Among the Clouds, and number 6, Lickety Split. They are my second and third choices. Now, you asked me to make a comment about number 7, Glee Club. What is interesting is that she won her only race a year ago, almost to the day, on the 13th of September at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, when beating Ice Rain, another Andre Nell inmate, when ridden by Richard Faree. So if you believe in the fact that horses come well and win on anniversary dates, well, then you've got to be in the camp of number 7, Glee Club. There's nothing wrong with the form, but to me, she's held by many in this field, including Kamikaze and 1 or 2 others. Kamikaze, St. Bridget, they can get into the fray. As you said, this is a trappy race, but you can't go wide in every race. So in the first leg of the jackpot, which is my suggested bet for the day, I'm only including numbers 1, Plum Pudding, 3, Among the Clouds, and number 6, Lickety Split. But if our listeners, our viewers, our fans want to go a little wider, I wouldn't put them off that. But I'm going to be in the camp of number 1, Plum Pudding, with a fair degree of confidence, as confident as one can be in a Class 4 fillies and mares 1,800 metre handicap.
Well, we like that, Graham, because the horse is at 5-1. So Graham likes 1, but he's just put in the informed stable as the cover, numbers 3 and 6. And again, just look at the rating drop of number 7, Glee Club. And if you are one that is hoping to celebrate on an anniversary, well, could it be a year later and she's back in the number 1 box, number 7, Glee Club. But we'll be with Graham here, 1, 3, and 6 in race number 5. Race number 6 will be jackpot 2. What that means is that races 6, 7, 8, and 9, you need to get your poem sorted out for, and it could be a nice end to the day if you catch jackpot 2. It's over 1,000 meters. And we bring up the field and have a look at some horses that are in single figures with the betting. Number 2 is at 6-1. Horse number 3 at 8-1. Then we got number 4, the Abdicator, at 11-10, carrying 61 kgs, over 1,000 meters, so that may not faze you. Number 5 is at 7-1. 6 is at 33-10, and horse number 7 at 5-1. Is the Abdicator vulnerable here, Graham?
Yeah, look, it's a trappy 1,000 metre race, complicated by the fact that a few of them, Captain Arrow being one, the Abdicator being another, haven't raced for a while. And Candice Bass-Robinson, in her comments, is quite emphatic that Captain Arrow, who is outstanding form over the course and distance, 3 starts at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, over 1,000 metres for a win in 2 seconds. So you're immediately drawn to that, but she suggests he will need the run. But the Abdicator is doing really well at home. I had a chat with Brett Crawford just yesterday, and the Abdicator is doing well at home. He's expecting a big run. He's shortened in the market all the while. He was priced up initially at around 16-10, is now around 12-10. His form speaks volumes. But if you like the Abdicator, then you've got to love number 7, Tough Terrain. If you go back to the 21st of November, I know it's a long time ago, at Durbanville, over 1,000 metres, he ran second, beaten only half a length by the Abdicator, and is now much better off at the weights. And then there's a further form line more recently on the 3rd of March where Tough Terrain, that was at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth, beat the Abdicator, and again, is better off at the weight. So if you like the Abdicator, you've got to love number 7, Tough Terrain. So I've taken a little bit of a chance in this leg of the jackpot in keeping the perm a bit tight. I've only gone with numbers 4, the Abdicator, and number 7, Tough Terrain. I'm trusting those form lines. I'm trusting the fact that Captain Arrow is going to need a run. Vaughan Marshall's 2 runners, France Lahar and Mojo Man, are definitely not chanceless and could get into the fray. Pork de Vas, what you see is what you get, but she's as honest as the day's long. She's a 5-time winner. She has won over the course and distance, and with Craig Zaki in fine form in the Western Cape, you've got to have a measure of respect for Pork de Vars. As I said, there are only 7 runners, but it is a trappy Class 3 handicap, and current well-being is going to be a key factor. But I'm going to rely on numbers 4, the Abdicate, and 7, Tough Terrain, to get me through. I think Tough Terrain offers some value. I think the pace will be on here, and that could play into the hands of Grant Van Niekerk and Justin Snaith, because he likes to come from behind them and finish with a flurry, so that could play into the hands of Tough Terrain. But it's not an easy race to win. Marginally, despite all that I said before, the Abdicator would be my first choice ahead of number 7, Tough Terrain, because over this 1,000 meters he could just come out really fresh and run them off their feet, because that's the way he likes to go. And Richard Ferree, of course, has done really well aboard the Abdicator. So it's not a cut and dried affair by any means, D's. But I'm going to rely on numbers 4, the Abdicate, and 7, Tough Terrain, to get me through.
Okay, 4 and 7, 2 runners. You managed to reduce the cost of the perm if the guys want to just include 2 runners there out of the 7, and that's race number 6. Race number 7 is over 1,000 meters. And, 8:30 this morning, there was a scratching of number 4, Silver Green. So I took down this betting yesterday. So the betting I'm going to give you is not the adjusted betting, but I'm just going to give it to you as a guide as of before the scratching of number 4, Silver Screen, that was scratched early on Friday morning. So this is how the betting was before the scratching of number 4, that was priced up at 4-1. Number 1 was at 8-1, number 3 at 9-2, 5 at 6-1, and 6 at 7-1. Then number 9 at 5-1 and 11 at 8-1, but there will be adjustments after the scratching of number 4. Graham, when you look at the betting of this race, it tells you a story, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, it's a complicated race, and this is quite typically a field race. It's a Cape Sea Stakes over 1,000 meters. They're very evenly matched. Perhaps we'll follow up with number 3, William West. I was on him last time at a big price on the show. I tipped him as the value bet of the day. He was a little unlucky. I suppose I'm a little biased, but I think he was a little unlucky to go down a half a length behind Otaniqua and Swift Act. He did give us a good place value, but obviously a win would have been more profitable. So this time he's better drawn. He's drawn in gate 3. He'll have every chance from there. So I don't want to desert William West entirely, but this is very, very, very competitive. There are few horses in the race that you can actually draw lines through. Swift Action has it all to do from the worst of the draw. Shifting Path, I think the handicapper might be starting to catch up with him. He won nicely, beating Unsolved Riddle last time in lesser company. He was penalised £7 for that. So Shifting Path is in good form, but has the handicapper perhaps now just got the upper hand? Only the race will show. Tambourine Man is as game and consistent as they come, and it was nice to see Adam Marcus have a winner during the week. So this table is now starting to pick up the thread. Casino Ace, definite chances. Wiley Jack, Bluff and Bluff could be an upset. This is the jackpot leg we have gone widest in, because even before the scratching of Silver Screen, I thought it was complicated, because even though Silver Screen at the time for Richard Ferree and Greg Enion was the favourite, she was a weak favourite. And so I think it's a complicated race. William West would be my hesitant first choice on the basis that I was on his back last time, and I don't want to get off his back this time. But quite frankly, not with a great degree of confidence, and any kind of result can be expected here.
Okay, we got the roving banker in race number 7. It's number 3, William West. In whatever bets you're playing, we're going to row in with Graham here. William West is going to be our roving banker in everything, because it could be the quartet of the day here, race number 7, judging by the betting, even after the scratching on number 4. And Graham is suggesting that it is a very difficult race. Race number 8, 1,400 meters, fillies and mares. And the betting here in the 8th race, number 1 is at 7-2. Horse number 2 at 5-2. Then we go on to number 6, that's at 8-1. 8 is at 6-1, 9 at 5-1, 12 is a scratching, and then it is double figures. The balance Candice Bass Robinson settles the favorite here, Graham. That's tipped second by Brandon Galliard in the computer form. He actually tips number 12, which is now scratching. The reason I mention that is that number 12 is out and 2 now becomes his top choice. Is it your top choice as well?
Yeah, I think she has a strong hand here, Candice Bass Robinson, and she's cracked really good draws with both of her two principal runners. Scarlett McCaw and Babalicious drawing gate numbers 1 and 2. Obviously, Elder de Meyer would have had the choice, so you've got to be swayed slightly by number 2, Babalicious. I don't think he would have had a problem riding Scarlett McCaw at 58.5 if that was his chosen filly. So Babalicious, for me, the top choice. Ahead of number 1, Scarlett McCaw. I do expect good runs from both of Candice Bass Robinson's runners, but these are two young 3-year-old fillies. They've had a fair amount of racing between them, so they're not totally green. Scarlett McCaw, in fact, won at Hollywoodbets Durbanville in June. Babalicious has yet to race at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, but I don't think that she'll be inconvenienced by the fact that she goes there for the first time, particularly as she's drawn in gate 2. So they would be my top 2 choices, but again, you know, there are a couple of hard knockers around, older fillies that may test their strength at this early stage of their career. I don't think you can totally ignore number 3, Tokyo Princess. Also drawn nicely. She caught us napping last time out when winning at 33-1, but she is a multiple winner. The Lunga Gila stable has been going along nicely, had a winner during the course of the week, and before that, a long list of placed runners. So I don't think you can ignore Tokyo Princess. Craig Zaki rode her last time, retains the ride, so that's certainly a plus factor. And I think she'll get into the race. Pushing Limits, hard to assess. Won her maiden in May, hasn't run since, but is a 4-year-old, lightly raced, unexposed 4-year-old. Beautifully bred from the Andre Nell stable. And then the value in the race could well be number 11, Becky Sharp. Does have a wide draw to overcome. Our value bet during the week was Pada Nom, who romped home at 12-1. If you're looking for a similar, she's also priced up at 12-1, Becky Sharp. I know the draw is an inconvenience, but I think she's still got a little bit of upside, this 4-year-old daughter of Rafif. So if there's any chinks in the armor of Scarlett McCaw and Babalicious, well, then Tokyo Princess and Becky Sharp could be the ones to pick them up. But I'll be in the camp of Candice Bass Robinson. I think the draw sways me. The fact that they are decent fillies, they look to have a bright future. Babalicious must be the stable elect with Elder de Meyer. Gets my vote, but I've gone a little wider than that in the final leg of Jackpot 1.
Okay, Jackpot 1, Graham has played it wide. They're playing to beat numbers 1 and 2 and 3 and 11. Get a big mention from him in the 8th race. Then how do we close things off? Well, let's bring up the field for race number 9. It's over 1,400 meters. Number 1 is at 6-1. Number 4, I've taken down the betting on this horse, Graham, from the Pit Porter stable, because I want you to give me your thoughts here. The horse is pried up at 10-1 with Devon Ashby for Pit Porter. Number 5 at 5-1. 6 is at 7-2. 8 at 4-1. And 14 is at 7-1. Well, you know, we try to watch as much racing as possible when it comes to local racing. But when you are in the Gallop TV studio on the day, well, you get to watch all the racing. And this horse last time out, Graham, number 4, the horse was very unlucky. I don't know whether, you know, that was by design, but I can see that he hasn't had the best of luck with draws, etc. His last 3 starts, but he gets the draw today. And I can't believe the odds, 10-1, number 4.
Great each-way value. Spot on D, spot on. 4 does good, represents huge each-way value. His course and distance form, 3 starts, 2 wins and a 3rd. And as you say, desperately unlucky last time out. So definitely one of the leading lights in the race. In fact, my second choice could well be my first choice. I was tossing between the 2. In the end, I've decided that Radicchio, who finished marginally in front of him last time, might well confirm the form, despite the fact that Dasgut appeared to be a little unlucky. Richard Faree gets back aboard number 5, Radicchio. His only course and distance run, he ran 2nd. He is a 4-time winner. He's well versed in winning. He does have to give Dasgoot 1.5 kg. There should be precious little to choose between number 4 Dasgoot and number 5 Radicchio, and they are my top 2 choices. The key horse and the most interesting horse in the race is, of course, number 6, Definitely Yes. Priced up favourite, 3-year-old son of Vercingetorix. He won on debut in June at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, but he beat My Poi Lollipop, who has continued to disappoint. There have been no direct winners from 13 runners in that form line. He could be well better than that. He certainly looks the part. He's bred to be the part. He could be one of Dean Canamay's superior runners in the yard. And if he's come on from that win and heading in the right direction, he could have enough talent to blow this field away. But from a win position, I'm looking elsewhere. If Definitely Yes wins this, then he's clearly going to be one of the 3-year-olds to follow through the Western Cape season. But I'm going to sit on the fence with number 6, Definitely Yes, and see how it goes. He is my 3rd choice because you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt that he won, and he won well on debut. But as I say, that form line has not been franked in any shape or form. +4 came off a long rest and won convincingly last time, beat Cumbre Vijay. But again, like My Boy Lollipop, everybody seems to beat Cumbre Vijay. So I'm expecting further improvement from +4 because he's drawn in pole position. Last time out, he was drawn in the bush. Stated won well last time out and could be on the up. Definitely won 4 trifectas and quartets. We have touchdowns, done nothing wrong. He's won his last 2, but in lesser company. Lunch Money, bad draw, but good form in this sort of class. Captain West smashed On My Honour last time out, and On My Honour has come out subsequently to win, so Captain West has got to be considered. So the race, typically, Class 4 handicap, 1,400 metres. They're not meant to be straightforward. They're not straightforward. But like you, I think that number 4 Dasgoot offers good each way value, and 4 and 5 are my top 2 choices. But there is a potential they could get turned over by any of these other horses that I've mentioned.
Well, I suspect after the airing of this show, after those comments from Graham Hawkins about number 4 Dasgoot, agreeing and giving us, the thumbs up if we like the horse, then the 10-1 looks to be generous, and I suspect, as I said, it's not going to last because the draw strike is there, and last time out, very unlucky. Just needs things to go his way from a good draw, and will go very close to winning it. So, Graham, we're done with the 9 races, but now we have to get onto your suggested bet. Your suggested bet, what is it, Graham? And it's going to come up on screen now. Oh, I see it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a jackpot, Graham.
Jackpot 1 starting in race 5. I'm going numbers 1, 3, and 6. That's Plum Pudding, who's my first choice at around 5-1. Among the Clouds and Lickety Split. Second leg, I'm sticking my neck out a little bit, going with just numbers 4, The Abdicator, number 7, Tough Terrain. Third leg, I'm going wide. Obviously, my perm was ventured before the scratching of Silver Screen, so we'll leave that in and get the tote favourite. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 11. And the last leg, while numbers 1 and 2 are my top choices, Scarlet McCorn, Babalicious, I have covered with numbers 3, Tokyo Princess, 6, Pushing Limits, and number 11, Becky Sharp, who makes some each way appeal at big odds. So that's my suggested bet, jackpot 1.
Thank you, Graham, and all the best over the weekend. Will you be racing at Hollywoodbets Durbanville?
No, I'm not going through tomorrow. Unfortunately, I will over the next 2 weeks when there are a couple of feature races, but I certainly will be watching all the action very closely.
Thanks for your time, Graham.
Cheers, Tees. Go LA.
Thanks to Graham Hawkins. He's giving us a lot of information for the 9 races. He's lent his thoughts on all the races, and he's given you a jackpot, which is jackpot 1. To you, the valued racing fan, on behalf of the Gallop TV team, Graham Hawkins, myself, Dees Dana, and you have a blast. Find all the winners, and hopefully it turns out to be a lovely, profitable day for you if you are playing at Hollywoodbets Durbanville. Until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gashle.